Hi guys, I'm Sneha and you are watching my channel Book Junction. Welcome to today's video. So this is the month of December and it's all about wrapping up your reads and reflecting on all the books that you have read. So in this video I will share with you my top 10 favorite fiction reads of 2020. I will post another video where I will share my favorite 2020 non-fiction reads, as you guys know that I really love non-fiction. So now without any further delay, let's get started. Now since I have to talk about 10 books, so I will not really go into the detail, but I will talk about my reason why I loved them and a little bit about the book itself. Now the first book that I want to talk about is The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. I finished reading this book recently. Now this book is about this 13-year-old boy Theo Decker who really loves his mother, and he was stuck in a catastrophe where he survives but he loses his mother and his life completely falls apart. Now the reason why I loved this book is because the way this book talks about grief is very unique and very real. Now there are a lot of books where people lose people and where people die, but we don't really get to read about grief that much, the entire process of grieving. That's why I really love this book, and it's very intense. It's not a light read. When you read this book, you have to be like emotionally available to absorb everything, and it starts very slow. By the way, the entire book is pretty slow, but the starting is definitely a bit too slower. So if you are an impatient reader, this is definitely not for you. But if you want to read something intense and something that's really amazing, then definitely add this book to your 2021 wish list. My next favorite read of 2020 is Dark Matter by Blake Crouch, and oh my god, I enjoyed this book thoroughly. Now this book is around the concept of time travel, but it's not complicated at all. Usually time travel or science fiction books in general tend to get a little difficult to understand because obviously science and everything is a little complicated and not everyone can understand everything, but this book is like really easy to understand. The language itself is very simple and the plot of this book is like really interesting. It never gets boring, but it's again so easy to understand as well. Otherwise what happens with such science fiction and time travel books is that they are really interesting, but it gets so complicated that you sort of get bored of it. But this book is, oh my god, one of the best science fiction books I have read till now. I have not read a lot of science fiction books, but this one is definitely one you should add to your reading list. My next favorite read of 2020 is 40 Rules of Love by Elif Shafak. Now I feel like everyone has already read this book. It's like I was the only one on this planet Earth who had not read this book. But if you have not read this book, you should definitely add this to your 2021 reading list. Why? Because this book is so fascinating, so interesting, so spiritual, and just it's so wholesome. Now there are two parallel stories in this book. One is of Ella, who is a housewife and she is living a good life with her family, but one day she receives a manuscript. The name of the book is Sweet Blasphemy, and she reads it, and the book is about the poet Rumi and Shams of Tabriz, and these are the two stories that run parallelly through the book, and you have to like sort of juggle between the two. Both the stories mirror each other, that is, they have the same concept at the core of it. So it's very interesting, and I mean, it's a wholesome book. It's all about love and spirituality and how both of them are connected, and with love you can become more spiritual. So spirituality is not bereft of love. In fact, love fuels spirituality. So that was really amazing, and in the book you get to read about all the 40 rules of love. So this book is definitely one amazing book, very fascinating, mystical, and one amazing book. So definitely add this to your list. My next favorite 2020 read is The Fountains of Silence by Ruta Sepetys. I also made a reading vlog of this book, and you can watch that. I will give the link in the description box. You can watch it after watching this video. Now if you have not read a historical fiction book before, and if you think that historical fictions tend to be very intense and serious and a little boring, then this book is for you. Like, this is the ideal historical historical fiction for anyone to start reading this particular genre, because this book is about two young adults and it's a love story, but it also has this historical aspect and so much that you can learn from it. So, and the language is also like pretty easy and it's almost like a contemporary book. Now this book is about Daniel and Anna. Daniel is a very wealthy American guy who is still figuring out what he wants to do in his life, but he's really into photography, something that his family doesn't approve of. And Anna is a hotel maid. She works in this hotel where Daniel is staying with his family, and they are in Spain, which is under the fascist dictatorship of General Franco. So a lot of things are going on around politically and economically and socially. So there are so many things, and overall this book is a wonderful read. It's very mysterious as well, so there is a mysterious element in it, what will happen next, and it's definitely a love story. So the next book that I want to talk about is The Bookish Life of Nina Hill. Now this book is about this girl Nina who works at a bookstore. She loves to read books, she plays trivia games with her friends, and her life is sorted. She is the only daughter of a single mother, but one day she gets to know that her father, who she has never met and she doesn't know anything about, dies. So suddenly she's exposed to this huge family, and in this family there are so many like stepbrothers, stepsisters, niece, nephew and all of that, and her life suddenly becomes really dramatic. So overall this book is like really interesting. So if you want to read something really interesting and fun and comical, you should definitely read this book. The next book that I want to talk about is A Man Called Ove. Now this book is one of those books that will just fill your heart with a lot of love and warmth. It's a really endearing book. Now this book is about a man whose name is Ove, and he's like really grumpy and cranky and all of that, but there is another side of his personality which is like really cute and adorable, and there's also a very sad story involved. So all of that happens when a young family shifts to his neighborhood that is just the next door actually, and then a lot of things happen and we get to see all of these incidents. So overall this book is really fun to read. Definitely it will make you sad at times, but overall it's really a wonderful experience. My next favorite 2020 read is Red, White and Royal Blue, and it feels like it's the YA fiction book of the year because so many people have already read this book, and if you haven't, you should definitely add this to your wish list because trust me, this is one amazing book. Now this book is about two boys, Alex and Henry. Alex's mother is the president of the United States and Henry is an actual prince. Now initially they hate each other, but as the story continues, it's like the most beautiful story ever. It will make you feel so good. If you're someone who is like completely given up on love and who thinks that love will never enter your life and you're just over love, then read this book. You will start believing in love again. You will start believing in all of those sweet mushy things. This is such a book, like it will just completely make you feel alive again. That's the only way I can express how wonderful this book is. My next favorite 2020 read is More Happy Than Not by Adam Silvera. I also did a reading vlog with this book, so you can watch that. Link will be in the description box. So this book is about Aaron Soto, who is a 16-year-old boy, and he's struggling to find happiness in his life because there is a big tragedy that happened with him and he's like really sad and devastated, but he has this amazing girlfriend. Her name is Genevieve and she's so understanding. She's like his best friend and their relationship is actually relationship goals, but Genevieve has to go somewhere, so for that time he's alone, but he comes across this guy Thomas and they really hit it off. They become amazing friends and they spend a lot of time together, and during that phase of friendship with Thomas, he drifts away from his friends, from his other friends actually, and he also explores a lot of things about himself. There are some secrets that will definitely turn his life upside down. So this book is like amazing. This book is like the movie Kahani, the one with Vidya Balan as the protagonist, and like when you watch that movie and you reach the end and you see that climax and you have to watch that movie again instantly because there's so much that you have to figure out. This book is just like that. You cannot read it once, you have to read it twice or at least 3 times because there is so much that you have to figure out after you know the ending. So yes, it's really crazy. My next favorite 2020 read is Radio Silence by Alice Oseman. I have already recommended this book to every person on the face of earth. This is like my favorite YA novel. I can't get over this book. This is definitely the best thing I read in 2020 and I'm happy that I read it. So this book is about Francis and Aled. Francis is a girl, Aled is a boy, but this is not a love story. This is all about a platonic relationship between the two and so much more. It's about identity and exploring yourself and so much more. So they become really amazing friends, but then some misunderstandings occur and they fall apart, but then they find their back to each other. So basically this book is like a roller coaster ride, but it's so worth it. Just add it to your list. So finally we have made it to the last book of this list, and the book is Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. Now this book is about this girl Kai, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name properly. The spelling is Kya, and I think I'm supposed to pronounce it as Kai. So if I'm wrong, definitely let me know in the comment section. Now in this book, Kai is completely alone and isolated. Her mother leaves, her siblings leave, and one day her father leaves as well, and then a lot of other things happen. But overall this book is about this girl who learns to live by herself and how she manages everything. Now the plot of this book is very vast and a lot of things happen, so it's very difficult to tell you the summary of the book in a few sentences, but I'll tell you the reason why I love this book. So this book is a lot similar to the book To Kill a Mockingbird. At least for me, when I read this book, I kept thinking about the book To Kill a Mockingbird, and that's one of my favorite books ever. So I guess the similarity is the way Kai is treated by the society as a filthy, nasty girl, the way she's being discriminated and all of that. So it's very heartbreaking and it's an intense book. It will make you so sad. So it's definitely not a light read and something that you will read for entertainment. This is something that needs you to be emotionally available. So if you want to read something like that, add it to your list. Alright guys, so these were my top 10 favorite fiction reads of 2020. I really hope that you found something interesting in this list and something that you would want to read. Definitely add it to your 2021 reading list. I will give the link of all the books in the description box. You can add these books into your wish list or your cart. So I really hope that you found this video valuable and enjoyed it as well. If you did, then definitely like, share and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in my next video. Until then, bye bye.